Hello and welcome to the Tavern Chat podcast. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, and this is another in our series of interviews or fireside chats with the designers and makers of our community. Today we have Jerry, also known as the Noble Herald Frog from Frog God Games. Jerry, thank you for joining me today.
Welcome. Thanks for the invite.
So, Jerry, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, just 5 questions, but it's going to give us a little background into your history in gaming. And then we'll move on from there, however it goes. It's going to be, I call it a hex crawl. We go in whatever direction the conversation takes us. So, Jerry, your first question. Tell us about your first RPG experience.
Actually, a newcomer to RPG.
Really?
I've been playing back right at the end of second edition or third edition came out. And the first game I remember playing in was Elemental Evil.
Huh. For some reason I thought...
class or anything, I just playing a druid. And his animal companion was a bear.
Nice.
I've been in and out of the game world since then.
Now, see, I would have guessed you to be a grognard, so I guess you aren't. Or you're a late blooming grognard or something like that. All right.
Traveler T20 when that came.
So then, Jerry, what's your
mechanic? Whoa, that was.
What is your go-to RPG system? Which one do you prefer?
I still keep talking to see if it.
No.
Or do I need to change?
We'll perverse on. It's probably the wrong word, but we'll struggle through this. Jerry, what your preferred game system then is? What, Pathfinder these days, or?
I just changed to my phone. Is this any better?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So time out. Again, we're early enough into this, and the heck with it. My audience likes to see me struggle anyway. So, Jerry, what is your preferred RPG system?
Right now, it's probably 5e. It was Pathfinder for a long time until it got so cluttered that a lot of the stuff didn't even make sense. It got to be just like 3.5 right before they went to 4th edition. There were just, in my opinion, too many choices.
Well, yeah, I know they've called, Pathfinder Mathfinder, but I think some of the issues with Pathfinder were the constant official splat books that kept on adding new options, new classes, new dials to turn. Even those that I think like to do optimizations probably had too many choices.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm not real enthusiastic about 2.0 either.
A lot of people aren't. I have not checked out those beta rules, but from what I've heard, the feedback that I've heard is that it's turning Pathfinder into 5e, and if you're already playing 5e, you have your system of choice. And if you're still playing Pathfinder, you've decided on your system of choice. So making it more like 5e might not be the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So since you came in with third edition, we'll skip the
Right.
race. We'll skip the races class question, but we're going to ask you about the save or die mechanic. Where do you stand on that?
That's actually kind of a hard question for me to answer, because if I'm a player, I don't like it on the one hand, but it gives me a chance to play something else on the other hand. If I'm the game master, I like it because if my players have picked something that causes problems for me, I can make them create a new character.
All right. And I think part of that divide does seem to fall upon whether you're primarily a player or a GM. I know as a player, I'm probably not the biggest fan of the mechanic. As a GM, I think if it's used like spice lightly,
Yeah.
it can be very flavorful. It's when opening every door becomes save or die that I think you're gonna get a lot of pushback from your players. But
Yeah. No, you can't use it more than once every 10 sessions or so.
yeah, you gotta be very light with it. You gotta be judicious with its use, or else it's gonna smack you in the face.
Right. Right. You're going to wind up losing players.
Yeah. Now, I normally ask folks what the teenage you would think of, and if they looked at what you were doing at this point in your life, but you weren't gaming when you were a teenager, but you were gaming and came in with third edition. When you came into the hobby, Jerry, did you think that you would be associated with some company like Frog God Games and actively be part of, I guess, their customer service?
No. By no stretch of the imagination did I ever think I would be associated with somebody like Frog God Games.
So, Jerry, how did you get the position? I mean, and I'll be honest with you, I, I back ended my way to being associated with Frog God Games with Swords and Wizardry Light, but and I never expected to be associated with them long term, and I'm like part of my family now in gaming. How did you get the responsibilities that you have?
Well, when they did the Pathfinder Rapanathuk, I bought the whole package. But in 2015, I came into some money through an inheritance, and the Kickstarter they were running right after the start of that year. I think that was one of the first times they did the Temple Dallas.
Oh, okay.
Where they pay for your room, your badge, your food. All you have to do is get there.
Right.
And I live in Houston, in the cons in Dallas. It's like 4 hours. So I bought into that and went up there and met everybody and took pictures and bought 3 signed posters from Larry Elmore and just had a great time. And then in 2016, I was going to buy into another Temple Dallas. And I think it was Matt that told me, no, don't do that. Said, something to the effect of, we don't require our friends to buy into seeing us again.
Nice.
So I switched it over and got the metal bound book.
Wow. I've held them once. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, and paid my own way up there for 2016. And it was somewhere right around in there, I started posting on Paizo about the Kickstarters. And, it just went like that for a while. I think it was before 2016. And then I went to the 2016 con and I bought the S&W book. And that's where Bill and Matt started calling me the Herald Frog.
Nice.
And Matt signed the book, and he signed it Noble Herald Frog. So, from there, then I just started posting on Paizo and InWorld, and then I got emails from everybody in Frog God Games, so I just started sending messages to them. Hey, there's a comment on this Kickstarter I think you need to answer. You need to come back and comment. And it expanded from there. And now here I am.
It's amazing how that works out. I mentioned before we started the show, but I mentioned that I was talking with Zach earlier today, and
Yeah.
Zach told me that you probably save him up to 2 hours a day on his responsibilities because you field. He goes. You're like a triage nurse. I'm just quoting, man. I'm just quoting. He goes, you're like a triage nurse. You set everything up, and you pretty much decide how important the problem is, and you let him or Bad Mike. You just set him up for success to take care of whatever issues crop up, and that in and of itself is amazing.
Well, Mike and Zach both have told me that they couldn't do what I do. They don't want to do what I do.
Well, that could be an issue there too. But yeah, that's impressive. Customer service is not easy, and to be able to deal with people and identify their problem and calm them down as you get their problem solved, that takes a natural ability to some extent. That's
Yeah.
pretty and you just stumbled yourself into that position.
Yeah. That's a pretty good description. I just kind of stumbled into it.
Jerry, that is awesome. Well, I understand that your responsibilities might be expanding a little bit with the upcoming Lost Lands Kickstarter.
Well, it actually, my responsibilities expanded about, I think it was City of Brass Kickstarter when I got promoted to collaborator. I can't even collaborator.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, yeah. Zach was mentioning that you take care of the facts and.
Well, I didn't start doing the FAQ until Tenkar. But what I wound up doing on the Tenkar Kickstarter was going through the comments and looking to see if I could find questions that I thought might be asked more than once. And then pull that out, put it in the FAQ, and hopefully get an official answer to put with that. And we wound up, because I looked at the FAQs on the other Kickstarters, and they might have had one or two questions in there. And in the comments, there were questions being asked multiple times.
And I've seen the Frog God Games Kickstarter comments, and they really move. They get dozens, if not hundreds, of comments in a week's time. If you're not on top of that, you're going to miss questions.
And Tenkar wound up having 20 FAQ questions. So
Now,
I don't even have an idea of what's going to happen on the campaign setting Kickstarter.
yeah, I know that also afterwards they're doing a digital initiative with that, which will be probably like a new Discord community related to it. So I am guessing that you are going to be picking up a few extra conversations you're going to have to be tracking. You know.
Hey, Mage is asking if it's okay to jump in.
Pexx, if he's Pexx will
Pexx answered him. Pexx answered him.
Oh, no, is it okay to jump? I guess Mage wants to jump in and talk. If you have Mage, if you got a question, just type it into the text and we'll address it as quickly as we can. So now, you've been saying the Tenkar Kickstarter, but I think you mean Teagle Manor. Because if I was like, wow, Frog God is kickstarting me, this is gonna be interesting.
I was saying Teagle, or I thought I was.
Yeah,
maybe
okay.
I wasn't.
Yeah, I think it said Tenkar once. I was like, wow, I'm being kickstarted. I wish somebody would tell me. I wonder what the expectations are. If I'm anything like my wife, I'll be late to everything by at least 5 minutes. But
if memory serves me correctly, I think we finally met last North Texas.
We finally did, Jared.
Yeah.
That was nice. I met a lot of people last North Texas because it seemed like the whole Frog God extended family was finally there. It was huge. We packed a sizable room.
Yeah.
So now I'm sure somebody's going to want to know this. The answer to the following question: are you going to be running any games at North Texas?
No.
They'll be
No, I don't run games at North Texas. If anything, I may play in a couple, but usually I walk around with a big camera stuck on my hip and taking pictures.
Well, I hope you share the pictures.
Making memories.
Because I'll be honest with you, I haven't played in a game or a scheduled game at North Texas. I've done pickup games. I haven't played as a player probably in 2 years now.
Yeah.
Because Frog God has me running games or working the table. And
yeah.
That's what I'll be doing at GaryCon. And then I think North Texas there, James Spawn's going to be running some games.
Yeah.
Probably using the Teagle Manor huge ass cloth map that they're putting together. I'm looking forward to that hugely.
Now, Bill is supposedly going to be running a Teagle Manor game at North Texas, but it is a limited access game.
One of the ones that you gotta donate to get into, I'm guessing.
That I don't know.
We'll have to track down an answer for that one later. I've played in Bill's games. I've played in Matt's games. They both play very differently. Bill's a bit looser with the rules, but they both can handle huge groups. 20 plus.
I played in one of Matt's games. I have not played in a Bill Webb run game. I think I need to this year.
Here's the difference between Bill and Matt in a nutshell. Matt stands on chairs and tables, SCGMs, Bill Webb rolls giant dice on the floor. So there, that is the nutshell. There's other parts that are different to it, but in a nutshell, expect Matt to scare you the shit out of you as he climbs on tables and walks along these tables that are next to each other to address the group. And Bill Webb is like at the center of the group with dice like half the size of your head or more rolling on the floor. Rolling on the floor. So if you ask me to like say what's the main difference, that's the main difference. The style is a little bit different, but they're both improv and they can both handle large groups. I think they're both trying to scooch down the numbers that they generally run with.
I think the game I set in Matt, I think it was in 2015, and we might have had 20 people playing.
Oh yeah, Jerry, I believe it. Here, my quick story of my first Mac game. It was my first North Texas. So this has to be, I don't know, 2013, 2014. It's at the old hotel, or the prior hotel, when Frog God would get its own room with a vending table that nobody ever found because it was in the room with the game, so who the hell went there? But Matt's there, and he's starting off on the chair, and then he's on the table, and we've got, I don't know, easily 21, 22 people sitting there. Matt handles initiative within the party by dexterity. He has everybody sit by their dexterity scores going high to low. And like I said, we got over 20 people, and in walk these kids, which I didn't know at the time was Bill's son and daughter, and I think two of Bill's goddaughters. So in walk these four kids, and they want to play. So already we've got over 20. Now we're adding four more to the group, and Dennis Sester, Dr. Dennis Sester, mutters loudly, "Will somebody kill these kids?" And I fucking lost it. It was hilarious. And Matt handled it fine. He handled the group. It was impressive as always. I don't know how he could do it. And and he handled Rach. That was her first weekend really of playing RPGs, except for one session of Tunnels and Trolls I ran her through when we were recording. Yeah. So, yeah, it's amazing what they can do. Now, you only go to North Texas as a convention, no others?
Yeah.
I have done of the the three OSR cons now. I've done Game Hall, I've done GaryCon, I've done North Texas. North Texas was my first, and they always say something about your first love. It's always special. Yeah, there's something very special about North Texas, and I think it's the intimacy. You get 450 people compared to what 2,200 at GaryCon. Probably, I don't know, 1,500 plus at Game Hole. The intimacy is huge at North Texas.
Well, now, I used to attend a con here in Houston at Rice University. It's called Owl Con.
Okay.
And matter of fact, when Paizo had PF1 playtest out, I started running Pathfinder games at Alcon, and I did that for about 4 years, and then I just quit going.
See, prior to North Texas, I think I went to 2 conventions in my life prior. I think it was Gen Con 25 back in 93, 94. And convention at Columbia University in Manhattan. I had to be, God, I want to say I was 19 or 20. So we're going back over 30 years.
Yeah.
And
I had never been to Gen Con.
Well, I'll never be going again. It's reached a size where I find it incomprehensible that I'll have any kind of enjoyment. Just too much, too many people. It's and I'm from New York City, and I was a police officer for 20 years. I know crowds. I worked New Year's Eve a couple of times down with the ball drop, but you cannot. I was getting paid for that crap. You couldn't pay me to be a part of a crowd of 100,000 at a gaming convention. No way. I'm not gonna have fun. I'm gonna feel crushed. And North Texas is such a perfect size. If you want to meet people in the industry, in the old school gaming, North Texas is the place to be. It's where you're gonna shake hands with Merle Rasmussen. Possibly sit down for breakfast with Matt Finch. I mean, it's amazing what you can do.
Talk with Frank Mentzer.
Talk with Frank. I've told this story once or twice, maybe not in the podcast. I guess it was going to be 2 years ago now. I'm talking with Merle Rasmussen, and Frank Metzner comes up. It's right before he wanted to launch his Kickstarter. And Frank comes up, and he's participating in the conversation, patiently waiting, I guess, to step in with what he wants to talk about. And coming up from behind Frank is none other than James Spahn. This is James. James is in his moment. It's his first convention, first North Texas. And then James comes up behind Frank Metzner and pulls his shirt up to his chin to flash me man boobies. And I had to try to keep a straight face and not laugh. Rach saw it and was grinning ear to ear. And then Merle at the corner of his eye, I think, and was polite enough not to say anything. But yeah, I don't think Frank ever knew what was passing behind him. But and that's just the general attitude of North Texas is so relaxed. You can sit down with pretty much anybody for a meal or at the bar or just at the in a hotel general seating area. Sit down. Trust me, you're gonna want to talking with somebody. It really is. So I'm glad you're going again this year.
Well, Frog God paid my way last year because about this time last year, the 2 previous years I used my income tax refund to go, but I wasn't going to be able to go in 2018. And Zach, in his infinite wisdom, said, no, give me some time. And he came in, and Bill also came in and said, no, you're going.
Good.
And I said, okay.
Well, one does not say no to Bill Webb. So, I mean, that.
No. and yes, I do things for Frog God Games, and it's in a volunteer basis. And no, I'm not getting paid, but I'll tell you how generous Bill Webb is that last year and the year prior, I got 2 tapestries. I got the Barge Gate tapestry and the World Map tapestry.
Nice.
For free. And this year, Bill has said, you pay for nothing.
God bless.
And I mean, I don't see that I'm doing all that much. I spend maybe 30 minutes a day on the computer just to let them know what's happening. And this is the benefit that I get. It's amazing to me.
You are appreciated for what you do.
It's remarkable to me.
Well, like I said, Zach stated flat out, "You are the triage nurse. You take care of issues before they become problems, and that takes a
Hope,
very special skill."
hopefully I do. Hopefully I do. Sometimes I feel like maybe I'm a pest because I may have to remind them 2 or 3 times, but the problem usually gets solved.
Well, if you're dealing with uh, Bill and Zach, they are generally also juggling multiple projects and multiple issues at the same time. So yeah, you might have to bug them, but in the end, I think it's greatly appreciated. Obviously, it's greatly appreciated.
Yeah. The big problem we're dealing with now is the overseas shipping cost.
That's
And
huge, man.
and we're trying. I've been begging people, if posting in comments, posting here on Discord, if you're an overseas customer and you know a reputable, reliable print on demand printer in your country or in Europe or in Australia or anywhere else, please let us know. We will contact them and see if we can't arrange for them to print the book so that you won't be paying $130 shipping for a $50 book.
Yeah, it's painful, and it's only gotten worse over the last couple of years. And I used to ship some stuff overseas once in a while, and I had to just stop doing that. You can't. It is literally cost prohibitive, and these Kickstarter creators that are years late on their Kickstarters and have people overseas that are due uh, items part of their projects are going to be pretty much shit out of luck with the way things have changed over the last couple of years. I don't even I'm not even sure what the price. The last 5 or 6 years, overseas shipping has probably doubled, if not more. So yeah.
I don't see it getting any better.
No, it's not, because our postal service is constantly losing money, so they're definitely not going to lower costs. They're only going to increase it. So
I see Zach posted laughing out loud, and then he puts keeps mouth shut.
yeah, well, oh, look at that. Zach actually is listening in. Yeah, Zach, we only said nice things about you, nothing bad whatsoever.
Oh, he says he was laughing about shipping.
Yeah, well, like I said, shipping is
not a laughing matter.
well, if you don't laugh, you cry, right? So sometimes you got to.
Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
So, well, Jerry, I mean, I know going into this you were a little bit nervous. How do you feel now?
Pretty good.
See, I listen. The reason why, and if you see Ian McCarthy at North Texas, you can thank him for this. Ian made the suggestion that we should not call these interviews; we should call them fireside chats, because it isn't like an interview. It's not formal. It's very relaxed. We just have a conversation, and that's what we had.
And when you sent to me the message earlier in yesterday, or a few days ago, that said after the questions it becomes a sandbox and we just go wherever, that helped to calm my nerves.
Well, Jerry, I'm glad that you took the time out of your day to join us. You took your time out of your day, and now that means like Zach's got like 2 hours of catching up to do because you weren't around to do your triage.
Exactly. He's gonna have to do it. He's gonna have to do it his damn self.
Yeah, you see.
Payback for a bitch, Zach.
Jerry, I want to see. I won't wear a goddamn it Zach shirt because I don't look great. I don't like shirts that go around. I need a V-neck. I can't do crew. But we gotta talk to Skeeter and make sure you get a goddamn it Zach shirt. I'm sure Zach will love that.
I already have one.
Oh well, there you go.
I bought one last year.
Well, you see, Zach, I have a long memory. Uh huh. Wait, we know you do. Well, Jerry, again, thank you for taking the time of your day to join us. I appreciate it. The listeners appreciate it. And I'm glad you had a good time.
I hope the people that did listen in maybe learned something, maybe had a laugh or two.
Well,
and I wish everyone a long and happy life.
And a long and happy gaming experience on top of that. And folks, you look at Jerry, look at me. Okay, both of us kind of woke up one day and realized that we were involved in the gaming industry without even trying. It can happen. It can happen to you too. Don't ask us for the secret though, because I don't think either one of us could bottle it. As always, folks, thank you for listening. I'm going to quote Zach Glazer in the text. He goes, he wants to say publicly that Jerry does a great service, and we are grateful. Well, yes. See, Jerry? You can, and Zach also says that 3 reminders might be actually on the low end for you, but
he may be right. He may be right.
He may be right. It is. All right. Again, Jerry, thank you, folks. Thank you for listening. Thank you for stopping on by. As always, God bless. Roll your dice well, and I will talk with you all tomorrow. Later, folks.